Hello and welcome back to the Smart Wealth series. This is Jeff Sokol, the CEO of BeneShield Financial. I am the creator of the Smart Wealth series, and we are going to be exposing smart wealth secrets of the ultra rich, where we get to show you exactly what people do that are very, very wealthy, that keep them very, very wealthy, where it always looks like they have an edge, they have a leg up, they know something that you don't. And it's true, they do know something that you don't. But we're going to go ahead and get into the crux of that in this series, and we're going to get into what they know, how they know it, and how it works. And many cases, how the system is rigged up against you. And if you know how it's rigged up against you, then you can take advantage of that same system and to where it's not against you anymore. It becomes power to you because your knowledge then is transformed into power once you take action. So let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to start with the first chapter here. And what is financial freedom and what is retirement? So what is financial freedom and retirement? What are your financial freedom and retirement goals? Remember, we went over this in the intro. This is what we said we'd be going over. And what does it actually mean to retire, and how much do we need to get there? Okay, this is going to be fun. So let's go ahead and check this out here. I'm going to scroll over to my book here where it says Chapter 1, What is Retirement? Now, there's a little story in here, and you should have a copy of this, but there's a little story in here that says Joe worked for 40 years, stuck away 5 to 15% of his income into his company match 401k plan. Then he retired by the time he was 65. He worked for 40 years, had no mortgage, had no debts, and Joe could now live on the money he'd accumulated and take a predetermined distribution from his retirement plan on a fixed income so he and his wife could enjoy the rest of their years taking vacations, visiting the grandkids, and traveling around in their RV. Sounds good, right? That's what we all, that's the American dream that's sold to the public, okay? The problem is that nowadays that's not reality anymore, okay? That has long gone. That's long gone from reality. I remember back in 2008, and I'm sure you do too, where friends of mine that were about to retire could no longer retire. People in their early 60s could no longer retire. And that's because of the way the system is set up. See, the system is set up to benefit a few. And they don't tell everybody the rules. See, the rules that you know and the rules that the financial elite know are two different sets of rules. You know how to go to H&R Block and pay your taxes every year and put money into a 401k plan. We're going to expose some different things about those, okay? The rules that they know are very, very different. The Rockefellers don't send their kids to the same schools. And I'm not talking about a school building here. I'm talking about they get a different type of education than you and I got. Okay? I'm right there with you. I went to schools, and I went to public and private schools, and they all teach basically the same thing, except for private schools where they were Catholic, so they had these. We had to take a religion class. But what we're looking at here is that the idea that used to work no longer works. So what do we do about that? Is it all lost? No, not at all. See, that go to school, get good grades, get into a good college, keep your nose clean, get a good job, buy a home, work 40 years for a job that you can tolerate. Then you should be able to do what you want after you're 65 years old, where you're old now, and you you can't physically do what you want to be doing that time. That's what they want you to be doing as a worker bee. Okay, so let's look at it and say, what does financial freedom mean to you? I'm gonna go to a new whiteboard here, so we can just open up a new blank paper, and I'm going to enlarge this so we can see it. So, what does financial freedom mean to you? And what is retirement? This is where you have to get really clear. So let's get clear on this first, okay? Take out a sheet of paper, do whatever you need to do. Let's get clear on what financial freedom means to you, all right? To a lot of people, financial freedom is just the ability to do what you want when you want to do it. Well, and with whom you want to do it, okay? So personally, that's my definition of financial freedom. Okay, are all my bills paid, and do I have to continue to work every day to make sure bills are paid? If you're out of debt, or you're bringing in more money every month than you are owing, and you don't have to work for it every month, that is financial freedom. So, but am I retired? So let's say I bring in that much money. Let's say I bring in $300 a day in passive income, and that exceeds what my bills are, and I don't have to work every day. I can kind of do what I want when I want. I still got money coming in. Is that retirement? What is retirement? Does retirement mean for you that you don't work anymore? We have to get really clear on what financial freedom and retirement mean, because they're two different things. You know, nowadays with the things that we can do to earn money, is there really a need to retire? Is retirement kind of passé? You know, I've got friends of mine that have retired from oil and gas companies and as engineers and stuff like that, and and for them, they straight up retired. They're living off of their pension. They're living off of their stocks, and they retired early enough and were with a good enough company that still gave them pensions, where they put in their time, and now they can go fishing every day. Literally, go fishing every single day, and that's what they do. That's old school retirement. You know, with a strong enough company, that's a put your nose down for a long time and get after it, and that's what they did, and they earned it. You know, the problem today is that companies don't work that way anymore. Number one, they don't give out pensions. Let's talk about this. They don't give out pensions anymore. Did you know that? So companies don't have pensions. What do they? Instead of pensions, they instituted something called a 401k plan. And we'll get into that later on. But a 401k was never meant to be a sole retirement vehicle, but that's what people are using it as today. Because that's how it was never designed for that. But what happened is that the bank started selling it that way. And companies started saying, whoa, wait, we don't have to give a pension. We can just match their 401k plan. You know? You can just match their 401k plan up to a certain amount and call it good. Well, the problem is that there's a lot of risks involved in that. Okay, so you can't count on that as retirement anymore, and you really never could, to be honest with you. You really never could count on just a 401k as a retirement plan, or stock options for that matter. Look at the people that worked for Enron back in the 2000s. They were, they thought that they had their retirements set. And then Enron goes out of business the way that it does, and it's all gone because their retirements were in stock. A massive company, belly up. So companies don't give out pensions. They give out 401k matches. Now, some companies, some people may be grandfathered in to a pension and stuff like that in some of the bigger companies. I know Schlumberger grandfathered in pensions a while. They stopped giving out new pensions, but they grandfathered in for employees a while back. And so there are companies out there that are are doing that, but they have stopped their pension process. Okay, so they can't count on that anymore either. So what is retirement for you? You know, people that were retired, they're having to work at, nothing against people that work at Walmart, but the guy that I see that's 80 years old, you know, or 70 years old, standing over there as a Walmart greeter, I'm pretty sure he didn't envision that. And I hate to think that that person lost his 401k 10 years ago. And that may very well be the case. You know, so we have to protect against that, right? So let's look at this. Financial freedom, having enough money to cover your expenses without having to work. Now, this automatically is going to give you time freedom. This automatically is going to give you the ability to do what you want, when you want, and with whom. Okay, so now that you have this time freedom and you have the ability to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want, we should probably put this caveat in there, while meeting your financial obligations without having to work. So we let our money work for us, right? And we get into systems, we get into programs, we get into and we build up things, we build up networks that allow us to, or we invest our time and our money into something that allow us to earn a residual passive income. And we'll get more into this in a later chapter. But that's the goal, right? Passive income, whether it's coming from Social Security, whether it's coming from a pension, whether it's coming from rent houses, whether it's coming from, let's say, you might be in network marketing and you built up a passive income there, whether it's coming from that, whatever the case may be, passive income is the only vehicle that's going to allow you, unless you have just a great big sum of money, it's the only vehicle that's going to allow you that kind of time freedom. So for financial freedom and retirement, we know that passive income is the only thing that's going to allow that for us and making our money work for us. Okay? Making our time and our money and our previous efforts work to our benefit. So let's go back here. And so we've covered what it means to actually retire, okay? And so you have to figure out, how much money do you need to get there? How much money do you have to have in the bank or working for you to get to your retirement goals? Now, when we look at how much money is necessary, we can easily we can go back and let's see, let's go back to our whiteboard here. All right. So we look at how much money is necessary. A financial advisor and a retirement advisor like myself, what they're going to do is that they're going to say, okay, well, sir, if you want an income of $50,000 per year, you have to have $1 million in assets to provide that $50K per year at 5%. That's what an annuity is going to do for you, okay? That's what an annuity is going to do for you. It's going to give you an income of 5% a year, okay? So 5% on your assets. So if you want $100,000 a year, you need to save $2 million. Easier said than done for most people, right? I mean, for most people, that's raising a family, putting kids through school, paying car note, house note, and you make $100,000 a year. People think that's a lot of money, $100,000 a year. It's not anymore. It just isn't. So that $100,000 a year goes. Where do you save it? Do you save it in the stock market? Do you save it in 401ks? What do you do with it? How do you save for that, because if you put it in the stock market 401ks, you could lose it, right? Well, then what do? We saw already in 2008, people lost 40% all at once. So we saw that people lost 40% all at once in 2008. And what we have to do is look at the broad scope and say, where are we going to be safe? So how much do you need to put back so you can retire? And we'll get into that also in a later chapter, because I tell you what, it is a lot less than you think. Depending on your definition of retirement also. But it is a lot less than you think, especially nowadays. And we'll get into that too. So right now, look at what you want. How much money do you need to retire? What do you think you have to put back? What do you think you have to put away to retire? Based on these numbers. Okay? How much income do you need? Now, we're also going to assume you have no debt obligations. I'm not talking about no cell phone or anything like that. I'm talking about you don't have any negative debt. And what's negative debt? Negative debt is any debt that is not providing you an income is negative debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Okay? Bad debt, even your mortgage is bad debt. Bad debt is not providing you an income, whereas good debt is providing an income, is paying for itself. Okay? So our idea is that we, good debt versus bad debt, is that we want to get good debt. Good debt pays for itself. And that's what we want to get to. Okay? Because every successful business in the world borrows money. And I'm not talking about mom and pop grocery store at the end of the road. I'm talking about businesses. Okay? They all borrow money. Big business borrows money, and that's all there is to it. I'm not talking about the one-man show. I'm not talking about the attorney. I'm talking about people that go into business, especially if, let's think about it from, I say borrow money. They always use other people's money, which is better than using your own, right? Come on. Using other people's money is better than using your own money, especially when there's a return involved. So other people's money is the best money to use. Why? Because you don't have to come up with it yourself and you still get to use it. It's a no-brainer. Using other people's money is the best. Keep your money in your account. Even if you have money in your account, don't spend it when you can spend somebody else's money. This is real estate 101. Don't spend. You guys out there that have money in the bank, I'm worried about. I'm worried you're going to spend your own money. You don't want to spend your own money. You want to spend somebody else's money. Okay? So other people's money is the best to use for good debt, which means investment. Okay, so we're investing here. Investment. Now, what kind of investment? We'll get into that in a later date right now. But what we're going to talk about today is how much money do you need to retire on? Get a number, and get a number that's clear. Okay? Get a clear number for how much you need to retire. And read chapter 1 in the book. So go ahead and read chapter 1 about what is retirement and what is financial freedom. And we'll see you on the next video. Okay, so read chapter 1 and just do the 3 questions at the end of the chapter. And guys, this is going to be a great deal for you. Just stick with me. Stick with the process. and let's figure this out. How much do you need to retire? Has to be a very clear goal, as far as how much income you need to be fully sustainable and to have everything met, all of your needs met. Christmas toys for the grandkids, all that stuff, to where you don't have to be concerned about money anymore. How much do you actually need? So let's go through that, and then we'll get into some more education here in the next video, okay? I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.